So welcome back to another video. Today's demonstration we're going to be looking at this Mediterranean town, and we're really focusing on the three figures here that are walking towards the mountains and these deep shadows. The light is coming in from this side, and let's just get straight into it. So sketch is done and we can now get straight into the painting. We're going to start off as per usual, just getting stuck straight into the sky. So we're going to go in here for some Ultramarine. We're just going to keep this very simple because there's a lot going on in the rest of the painting. And to create the atmosphere of heat, we're going to just keep this just straight blue. We're going to bring in some warm colours as well into the buildings. And that will do, just leave that there. So while that's drying away, we can start now to focus in on some of the colours here, and we're going to be looking at raw sienna. Just going to clean that up a little bit there. Well, that was just some water, some leftovers in there. Let's get in a nice wash on this road, and we'll make this the predominant tone and colour under the buildings, so when they all dry off, some of these yellows will be shining through. Let's just quickly get this in, just make this a bit drier there, so join all those up. I think that will do, and we're just going to wait for this to dry, and that will be stage one. Let's have a look at some purpley kind of blue in the background here for this main mountain. Just be careful around those heads, and we'll make that go back by having a different blue in here. We're going for some cobalt blue, just to send that back a little bit there. We'll sort that out with some tissue because that's blended and bleeding in. We don't want that. Let's just take that out quickly. We could afford to have that there. Just pop some more of this in. Oh, that's slightly stronger than that, so it's different to this mountain here. We'll just let that do its thing and bleed in. Okay, what we've got to do now is wait for this to dry before we go into the next stage. Okay, so we're going to go into the next stage. This is all nicely dry, and we're going to start to pop in some of these buildings a little bit stronger. With some of these browns, some siennas, umbers. Obviously this side is going to be darker. We're going to try and retain some of the yellow ochre that's underneath there, raw sienna, in some parts. We do that by a little bit of dry brush like this. So we just can get some of these nice pieces of light underneath. Just take some water here, just to blend that down, let that bleed across. That'll do on that one. And on this other side, obviously, a similar sort of thing. This side of the painting is also going to be in shadow, so here, so just something to bear in mind. That will do. I'm going to go to detail on this. Notice where I'm holding the brush again near the end. And we'll go in with some stronger tones now. This is some Payne's grey, just to suggest some of these roofs. And again, holding the brush really up so we're not getting in tight. It gets just the feel of a loose painting style. And while we're there, some of these darker tones, Payne's grey, some of this, we'll just pop in the suggestion of some windows. We'll just mix it up with some different colours. We don't want everything the same. And again, holding the brush up here, that's the way you keep the looseness, is by not getting in too close and too fussy. Again, just dot in some of these. Don't need to be too precise. Just change up some of the tones though, so add in some blue in here, just to give it a little bit of variety, otherwise it's all the same. It's quite boring. Because this is really not the focal point at all of the painting, we don't need to fuss and worry too much about what's going on with it. Just add a little bit of water in there. Look, it's these three characters walking towards the mountains that we need to focus on. And we'll do that right now by going into a smaller number 2 brush, and we'll pop in the heads to start with. Always remember kind of ovals. And we're going to link these three characters together. Remember, it's where we want the eye to go. So we're going to have this character here as the darkest character in terms of what they're wearing. So we'll put them in a sort of black, and we'll touch in some of this brown in there. So we'll pop in some of that for the legs, and we'll pop in the legs for these other characters while we're at it. And then we'll go for some red, which will make this pop towards here. And we're going to join this character to this one. It's quite good to get characters joined together. And then we'll go in for some blue on the other side. This character here. Again, trying to join up that character as well. And then obviously walking off towards the mountains, as we say, we're going to pop in the shadows for that. And also, while we're here, going to just run in a couple of guidelines just to take the eye in on this road, path, whatever it may be. Just pop that slightly darker off this side here. Okay, we're almost finished on this stage, except we're going for this number 6 round brush, and I just want to touch in a warmer colour to pull this mountain forward a bit more. So we're going to go from some of this blue mixture with some crimson, and just pop that in, not everywhere. I'd be careful around these heads because I want to retain a bit of the light, and that will just help a little bit there. We'll pop some trees in along here as well, but we'll wait for this to dry, and then we'll go into the next stage. So on to the next phase. Our next step, everything here is nice and dry, and we need to now start thinking about popping in some of the shadows. So we're going to put in some shadow mixture here. We're going to be putting in 2 shadow mixtures, one warm and one a bit cooler. So we're now popping in our crimson and also the ultramarine blue. Pop in some of that as well. We'll put in more blue into this one. We need to make sure we got enough mixture. Okay, so shadows. So looking back at our original, need to be looking at the shadows that were on there. We can see that all this side is in shadow, and there's some cast shadows from the buildings there and some shadows on the figures. That's what we really need to focus in on. So let's just pop in some of these shadows really swiftly. We don't want to be messing around too much with this. By that I just mean you need to get them in quick and not keep going back to anything. So that'll do there. We'll pop in a couple of little shadows down here. I'll do there, one here, coming in there. And then we're going to be placing some shadows all the way across. I want to retain the light around these figures. That's really important because the light there is very nice. Let's just pop in some of these. Obviously they've got to join their feet. Shadows always do weird things. You don't need to worry too much about them in terms of whether they're very accurate or not to the shapes of the bodies. You're going to get strange things there. And then these shadows here are going to need to come across. But I want to be retaining the light here. That's really important. So we'll have one coming in here. We'll block that off there and there. I want to make sure we've got this. We'll bring in some warmer, stronger tones here. Just touch of burnt sienna in there as well, just to mix it up as well. That's better. Some liquid in here. Obviously we've got this shadow sort of moving up into this building. And now is the time to start to think about finishing this off with a few little details along the top here, these flag posts and poles. Bits and bobs here, some aerials maybe. Not too sure what they are, doesn't really matter too much. I put in a little bit of flag colour in here, a little bit on there. Less is more, otherwise we can fiddle around too much. And what you'll find is you'll lose the essence if you do that. It's just going to pop in a few more darks in here just to mix it up a little bit. Obviously this is the place we want the eye to go, the lightest light and the darkest dark. We did say about some trees in the background there, so we'll just pop in a little mixture of this. Just being careful there, it kind of joins things up really. So that's that in motion. The only last little thing I'm looking at that I want to sort out is to put in stronger shadows here these characters. Coming off there. That's better. And we would have, obviously, probably some shadows on the right hand side of these characters as well. That helps. It's kind of got a well of colour dropped in there, but this is really nice the way this is kind of granulated. And I'm happy with that. I'm gonna leave it. I'm not gonna mess too much with that at all. The only strange thing here, as you said, I'm just going to take out a little bit of this liquid. It's just the way it's fallen there. That's better. There you go, create some nice little effects there, look. And I'm happy with that. We'll take off the tape and have a look, and that's it really. So thanks for subscribing, for liking, for ringing that notification bell. And I'm really close now to 1,000 subscribers. I'm about 8 away or something like that. So please, if you're watching this and you haven't subscribed already, subscribe. You'll get regular content. Anyway, take care now and happy painting. And here we go with the tape coming off. Let's have a look what we have underneath.